As promised, we are back once again for a KSR Rapid Reaction. News just popping left and right, up, down, left, right, side to side here on day one of the transfer portal opening at midnight, and there are 1,500 names and counting in the portal. One of them being Andrija Jelavic, the first to pop today, the next domino to fall for Kentucky. But we'll talk about that in a second. That's, we're talking about the positives and the happiness, the good thoughts. And Kam WIlliams returning is deserving of a nice little standing ovation. Shout out to the one and only Kam WIlliams announcing his return for his junior campaign as a Kentucky Wildcat. His season coming from Tulane, he was the first commitment of the last portal cycle for the Cats. As Jacob will remember, the lead up to the Tennessee Sweet 16 game, he announced just a big old fat surprise in the morning leading up to that, and that was a fun little domino of what was to come the rest of the way. But now he is officially back. Zach, an up and down year for Kam, who started out slow, started finding his footing. Pun not
bad
intended.
Joke. Bad intended. Yeah, bad pun there, buddy.
Sorry, guys. Started finding his footing, broke his foot in mid-January. Just kind of was assumed that he was going to be out for the rest of the season, but then makes his miraculous recovery by season's end, plays the final 5 postseason games for the Cats. Weighed his options a little bit. It wasn't just a total layup, but he made it clear from day one, from the jump, that he wanted to return. His dad gave some awesome quotes last week on KSR about wanting to return, said, hey, if it makes sense for us, we'd love to be here. And today he makes it official, Zachary.
Yeah, up and down is kind of like, that's like the light way to say his season, because it was, he came off the bench from the beginning of the season, then had a 4-game stretch where he was a starter, and then I don't remember exactly what happened after the Gonzaga game, if he just got straight up benched or because he got removed from the starting lineup. I don't remember exactly what the situation there was, but then kind of started to play his way back into form, and then I think once JQ went out, again, like kind of around then is when he really started to step back into that starting spot, then lost it again, after returning from his injury and all that. So it was, literally the highs and lows for this kid who was shooting the 3 leg really poorly to start and then really picked things up. He had that, 8 for 10 against Bellarmine from long range that really jumped up his 3-point percentage. It felt like he was starting to hit his groove at the right time. And then, the broken foot and the non-contact injury happens. And then he fights like hell to go through surgery and rehab and finds his way to get back on the floor. And that 3 he hit in the LSU game, I remember Jack, you and I were sitting right next to each other. That was just like it wasn't even like about Kentucky at that point. It was like, oh my gosh, like what a cool moment for Kam WIlliams, who was only supposed to play like 5 or 10 minutes and ended up playing 17 that game, yeah. 13 against Missouri, in the Florida game, whatever. But so it's a big return. It's huge. It's one of those retention pieces, that word that keeps popping up, retention. So it's nice to have him back. And now you've got another piece that you can kind of start building around moving forward. And I would love to see what happens when he gets, I'm sure it'll take a little bit more time for him to really start feeling as healthy as he was before he went down. And then we can get him back into rhythm. What are y'all laughing about right now? Am I missing
Jacob
something?
Can't stop reading the comments and giggling.
Stop reading the comments.
Stop doing it. You've done it every Rapid Reaction. Stop it. Grow up.
Hey, I like you guys in the comments. They don't like you.
Grow
up.
What
is Captain Crash talking about? Is Captain Crash making you laugh over here? We need to figure this out.
Captain Crash? I like Captain
Crash. Is
Crash.
this Scoop from Captain Crash? Oh.
See, you guys are reading the comments and you're missing Scoop. Me, I'm actually
yeah, we're talking about Kam WIlliams over here. That's right. Yeah. But back on topic for a second. Yeah, so it's awesome to have him back. We talked. Was that yesterday that we talked? That we did a rapid reaction?
It's all running together. Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's
championship game. Yeah, Monday. Yep.
Yeah, Monday. So was it? Was it a money thing? Was it a fit thing? A role thing? Like, I'm sure we'll get some more details about how it all kind of unfolded. But yes, it's awesome to have him back. Pair him with Malachi, and let's start really building the roster. There's 1,000 different portal names that are out there right now. I don't think we're really going to get into that today because that would take, or at least right now, that would take hours to do. But yes, great retention piece for Mark Pope to have a 3-and-D guy back.
And Jacob, we talked about how Kam was included in that lumping of guys who were I think the first run of offers, the return deals, he got one wasn't said for a lot of for several of the players. He got a return deal, but I think it came in very, very low. And I think it was one of those deals where it was like, okay, well, we got to have some wiggle room there, but we still want to be here. If they come, I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Malachi, same thing that, we're talking about with a lot of these guys. So Jelavic, who we will talk about in just a second. So I think it was just about finding the right value. But really, I think it wasn't necessarily, Jacob, just about the money specifically, but more of, I think there's something about how invested is the coaching staff in playing you. If they're only willing to pay you $200,000, well, it probably means that you're going to be sitting at your butt at the end of the bench and you're not going to have a role in the team. But if they're willing to cough up some dough and invest in you, odds are good that they see you as a prominent role guy. And I think that was something that they were waiting on. It wasn't like, hey, we need the money. It was just, hey, we're not going to, we don't want to risk this. We really want to make the jump to the NBA. He came in, he was on some draft boards. There's a lot of NBA love for Cam. Didn't get to see that through. The injury thing happened. He fought back to play when a lot of players wouldn't. Kentucky, we just, Jaden Quaintance, we saw it with this season where a player didn't do that. So that was an admirable thing. I think he just kind of wanted to get some love in return to show that, hey, I want to be back, but it has to be worth my while if I do that with the role itself. So Jacob, anything else that you heard on your end about how Kam WIlliams made his return for his junior campaign?
Yeah, I mean, the timing is key because there's leverage and there's points where the conversation, there's not that urgency a week ago, but when Monday's approaching, Tuesday's approaching, the portal's opening at midnight, that urgency starts to pick up. And then Kentucky, there's urgency on their end because they don't want to see Cam hit the open market. And there's urgency on Cam's end that, hey, we don't want someone else. We don't want Kentucky to go and fill that spot with someone else. So it made sense for both sides to go get this done when they did. Get it done on that first day of the portal. And then you have
that's a good one, Connor. Actually,
I was doing good at not reading the comments, and then you got to put one right here, and then
that one's worthy of it. Yeah.
Clown. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, sorry, I need to go copy and paste one of Jonathan Gavoni's tweets right now.
Name drop. Don't dox him.
We didn't say who we're talking about.
Sorry, I didn't want to name drop the guy posting publicly on Twitter. What were we talking about? Kam WIlliams?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the timing was key with this. It made sense to get it done when they did. You now have multiple building blocks in place that it makes it easier to sell to, like we talked about yesterday, it makes it easier to sell to portal prospects. Hey, you're going to come in and play with Malachi, with Kam WIlliams. These are the pieces we have in place. These are the pieces that we believe in. And we think that now we can build a competent roster that can compete for number 9, which is what Kam WIlliams is. Everyone around Kam WIlliams is saying number 9. That's their main focus.
Here we go. We'll love to hear it. This guy, you're missing an O in your 2, by the way.
Jack talks like the least amount of any of us on these rapid reactions as well. So,
yeah. Kick rocks, buddy. Andrija Jelavic decides to put his name in the transfer portal, Zach. It was news that we heard, kind of speculated, thought could be coming, but we knew he was one of the guys that Pope would like to have back if the money made sense. He tells KSR that he would like to come back, that him going into the portal does not necessarily guarantee that he will be leaving. So does that intrigue you? Is that something, do you think that's just kind of player speak? Is this something that Kentucky fans should be expecting now that he's officially a free agent?
Yeah, so for me personally, my order of retention for pieces I wanted to come back were Malachi, Colin Chandler, and Kam WIlliams. You've got 2 of those 3. By all accounts, you're going to go 3 for 3, it sounds like, with Colin as well. And then that next tier of players was Jelavic, Mo Diabate, Brandon Garrison. I kind of always assumed that maybe one of them would come back, and I guess that's still possible with your reporting about, kind of keeping his options open for a return. But, I don't think it's a huge loss or gain one way or the other. He might already be 22 or he's about to be 22 going into next season. So he's obviously still has a lot of room to grow, but from what we saw in his first season, the shot wasn't falling. It felt like his defense wasn't up to par where you needed it to be. He's a good rebounder and he could score inside a little bit and like had a little bit of a touch, some solid touch. But, you didn't see too much from him last season to be like, okay, this is a guy you got to go all in on. So I'm sure that that's probably where, the conversations went, was like, okay, well, Jelavic wants X amount of money. Kentucky probably didn't value him at that amount. So maybe he goes in the portal, see what else he can get, and then maybe come back to Kentucky and see if they can work something out that way. So if Jelavic wants to come back, sure. I think, he's a fine depth piece. I think that's kind of all he wants or should be, though, if you're trying to, as Kam WIlliams in his camp like to say, get number 9. Like you probably want Jelavic to be a 10, 15-minute guy off the bench, similar to kind of what he was last season, but maybe just, primarily off the bench role. So it would have been nice if he could have just really shown some ability to knock down some threes, because I feel like he just never really found a rhythm there at all. And that's kind of what he was brought here to do, was to pick and pop and shoot some threes as the big guy. So, but if that can tick up, then you can see a world where he fits better in next season's team. But the news was not necessarily shocking. I think it was Jacob even that had it a month ago or something, kind of saying that this is kind of how it would all play out. Like he would probably go to the portal while considering a return to come back. So not a huge surprise and probably not a huge loss if he does end up going elsewhere. But I love Jelavic. I loved his quotes. He's a great, best interview guy on the whole team. Not even a close.
Because he just has that European honesty, just that, you know what, I'm not here for a haircut like that. I'm going to give you exactly what's on my mind, and you're not going to get any spin, any narrative. It's just who I am. Yeah, I love that. Jacob, I think it sucks because the idea of him, I think, is probably better than what the actual result has been. Like, you look at him and he's a stretch 4, able shot maker, but really just kind of ended up being a shot taker. We got the false hope with the Caleb Wilson, just locking him down, sending him to absolute hell in that one-on-one matchup. We were like, whoa, Jelavic can defend. And then that was probably the peak of his defensive performance. Unbelievable rebounder, but just, man, there's just so much. The pros are pretty darn good, and the cons are like, whoa, how much can we invest in a guy like this? So I get it. I see it on both sides. I know he'd probably fetch a pretty penny on the open market, but I do know that he loved being here. He loved the Kentucky environment and proving himself on the big stage. He started a ton of games, so I wouldn't rule this out. I do think that he fits into one of those, let's see how some of these other dominoes fall. Jacob, you can some of the reporting on some of the other guys at that position that Kentucky is going after. Do you think if they land some of those other top high market guys that it rules out a return for Jelavic, or do you think there's any space for several of them to come together?
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to. Like Zach said, I said it in early February when it came specifically to Jelavic that I would lean departure, but the door is open kind of depending on negotiations. And I think that's where we're at. Can Kentucky find someone better at his position? I know that he's really I don't want to say, I think a developmental piece is fair to say, where he's someone that you would expect to continually get better in your program and be a really good player. But you've already got some of those players. You're going to need some real immediate impacts. And so if you can find that over Jelavic, it makes sense to bring someone else in. But if the money's right, the role's right, and you can bring him back at a price that you feel is reasonable, then I'm all for it. So I think that the way this has gone, I think works out very well with Kentucky, where he says he's entering the portal. He says he's leaving the option open to come back. And Kentucky can go evaluate their options. He can go evaluate their options. And if it makes sense, they can bring him back.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's a great call on both sides. Zach, who do you expect the next domino to fall, both outgoing or incoming? There's some fans asking in the chat about what's the deal with Trent Noah, and I guess Reese Potter still technically has to make a decision, but we're rolling through them quite a bit. I feel like we don't have too many dominoes left to fall, but what's your hunch? Give me an educated guess on who's the next domino to fall?
Well, I was just thinking, like, who's even left? Like, who hasn't made a decision? I guess it's really like official announcements.
Colin, Trent,
Colin,
Reese, and Braden.
Denzel Aberdeen already entered the portal.
Denzel Aberdeen, yeah, good point.
Yes. Yeah, that's. I don't know if I mean, he had the 12 games played as a freshman at Florida, only 41 minutes. So we'll see if he can really wiggle his way. But
I love you, Denzel, but buddy, it's over.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
over.
blame him for trying. I mean, why not? Like, we'll see. The rules could change in 2 months. But I mean, I think Colin is probably the next domino to fall. Like, by all accounts, it seems like he's wants to come back, is ready to come back. Pope wants him to come back, and it's kind of already not necessarily signed, sealed, delivered, but about as close as you can be. So I guess we're just kind of waiting on the finishing touches for that one. I know Braden Hawthorne told some media like right after the NCAA tournament that he wanted to return. A lot of guys have said that immediately after losing in the NCAA tournament. First round draft lottery locks have said that. So I'm not putting too much stock in
I think AJ DeBanza said that he was going to play 4 years because his mom wanted him to get a degree.
Has he declared yet? Maybe Kentucky can go after him in the portal.
Yeah, $9 million. Bring him over. Yaxel money.
Jack Pilgrim confirms it. It's happening.
Shut up.
But I think Colin's the guy you want to focus on first, and then the rest of the guys. Like Reese Potter, but it sounds like he wants to come back, and I guess I'm sure if he's willing to take the bargain amount of money, he would happily do that and come back to Kentucky and kind of be that depth piece. But
how much would you pay Reese Potter to come back?
I have no idea.
I mean, where do you start? Just
I don't even know. Like, what's a baseline month for dollar amount for these?
You're the GM.
Know.
How much you paying?
I mean, if I'm Kentucky and I have $25 million or $20 million to work with, I mean, I'm not giving him, but maybe 1% of that, to be honest. I mean, I think that's fair though. Like, I mean, the kid redshirted all last year. Like, unless he can come in and actually contribute and be a player, like, spend your money on the big guys. And
I got $100,000 for him.
Sure. If that's the number, yeah, I would take that pretty easily if I were him. So, and then Trent Noah, who knows what'll happen with him. If he really wants to be at Kentucky, I'm sure he would happily come back, but it's going to be a depth piece for him as well. So, and I mean, how many names have we written about today on the website? Portal guys, like at least a dozen, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, and that's just guys that we know of. So there's a lot of other names out there and more names that'll surface. A lot of them are backcourt players, I will say, is what it's, I don't know if that's just like the coincidence of the guys that you all are ended up talking to or the information we're getting, but it does seem like there's a lot of focus on the backcourt players right now. So, and I guess that makes a little bit of sense with Kam and Malachi already announcing coming back and then maybe work their way around the portal, but kind of prioritize some of these guards. But there's a lot of really good guards out there that they can go after. But in terms of actual outgoing or current pieces, I think Colin would be the next domino to fall, that could happen any moment, it feels like.
Jacob, wrap us up. Give us the latest on who Kentucky has reached out to. I'm sure we'll do the same thing tomorrow, so we'll just don't worry about what's on the docket for here in the next day or two, but just focus on who Mark Pope has Zoomed, FaceTimed, gone back and forth with today to open the portal cycle.
Yeah, I'll throw 4 out there. You got FAU transfer guard Devin Vanderpool, who he had a million Zooms today. I think Kentucky's still working to schedule that Zoom. I don't believe that's happened yet, but I expect that to happen pretty soon. Zoom Diallo, I believe he's already had his Zoom meeting. I've heard they're strongly in the mix there.
It's a big one.
Washington point guard, a guy that John Calipari had some talks with. I don't believe they ever offered him out of high school, but they talked to him back under the previous regime. Terrence Brown, Utah transfer. I think everyone on the internet's seen the screenshot of
Kentucky chat.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the latest one I heard was Paulius Muraskowskis.
Nailed
I
it.
was going to have Jack say that one. Yeah. St. Mary's big. For him, for the longest time, obviously Randy Bennett's going to Arizona State, and he's been rumored to be following him for some time. But I think that some big schools are going to be after him. Obviously, Kentucky's going to get that Zoom, so maybe somebody can lure him away from Arizona State.
Yeah, Zoom is having a Zoom about the possibility of running Zoom action.
Oof. I mean, just me personally, I would love to have Zoom Diallo at Kentucky because, my pun gun would be loaded every single episode of Zoom action. I'd be ready to let that thing fire.
Yeah, That'd be great. All right, the fun stuff, guys. We got a lot more of these in the chamber. Is all the news drops with new commitments. Like right now, it's just about the stay-go decisions and some early laying the foundation stuff with the portal. But we'll have, obviously, with as many outgoing departures as we've had and no incoming recruits outside of Mason Williams, it's going to be some turnover and there's going to be some new additions. So buckle up, get ready here on the KSR YouTube channel. Go subscribe to KSR Plus. 50% off spring sale is still live. Not another place on planet Earth that you can get as much Kentucky scoop is popping up left, right, all day, every day. So make sure you go subscribe there. Subscribe right here on the KSR YouTube channel. Like this video right now, and we'll see you next time. Go Cats.